The first card you have for your past is the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, I think you might have just been retreating at this time, just wanting to be on your own. And you're kind of happy to be on your own. You're not happy, not sad. You're fine being on your own. That was how you thought things had to be at the time. And I don't think you're always going to want to be on your own. I think this is just how you were at this time. And you're a bit quiet as well. You were laying low. I'll just tell you what I'm seeing, because I'm seeing something a little bit specific in this. I actually think someone might have been talking to you again, or starting to see you again, starting to come back to you. Someone from your past. I think this was a love connection. And I think you were very happy to have them back. I think you'd missed them when they weren't around you. Look at how happy this woman is. So you were feeling happy about them being back, partly, but there was also a little bit of unsurety in you, because I think you might have had a bit of backwards and forwards going on between you a few times. They looked as if things were going to settle at this time, but you were still a little bit unsure of that. That's what I'm seeing. Because if you look at the woman on this card, she's holding a falcon, and falcons are trained to hunt. And what happens is they go away and they hunt, and then they come back to their owners, and they go away again, and they come back again. So they do always come back, but then they go away again. So I think you might have been thinking, are they going to go away again? What's happening this time? What's different this time? We've had this backwards and forwards before. What's different this time? Something has to be different this time for it to work this time. And so you're kind of working through all of that in your head. You're happy they were there, I think, happy they were starting to talk or come back again, but you had these kind of mixed feelings, I think. And I think also you were keeping their return a little bit quiet as well. I think you were just seeing how this was going to go before you told anyone about this. You might have told someone, but I think mostly you're keeping this a bit quiet. Because you just didn't know how this was going to go, and you didn't want to start to say to people, oh, I'm seeing this person again, I'm talking to them again, and they'll say, oh, how many times is this going to go backwards and forwards, or whatever. You just didn't want to deal with that, so you're just seeing how it was going to go yourself before you said anything to anyone else. So I'm seeing happiness in this. I'm seeing keeping a bit quiet, and I'm seeing being a bit cautious as well. They're the things I'm seeing in that card. So the next card you have your past is the Queen of Wands. So yeah, this queen is super strong. She's so independent, she's strong, and independence and strength is actually in both of these cards. So to get this strength though, you've had to build this up. You weren't always this strong. You've had to go through a huge number of different things, really difficult things, and you're kind of forced into being this strong and this resilient. And there were times where you just had to keep going. It was like you were on a treadmill and you couldn't stop. You had to force yourself to keep on going. And I think you might be going through a little bit of that, or you were at this time. You might still be now, because I'm seeing you might have had some kind of illness, or maybe this was an injury that you had, and you had to rest this, and you wanted to kind of get off that treadmill and do things and run around and be able to do this and that, but you couldn't. You had to rest this thing. I've seen this in your readings before, so this might be an ongoing problem that you have. It might be an ongoing kind of health problem, maybe, I don't know. But and that might have been another reason why you're by yourself, maybe. I'm also seeing someone around you who was helping you out a bit. They're a bit nosy as well, I think. And you had to sort of guard yourself against them in a way, not against them, but against them kind of finding things out and gossiping and asking you questions, especially when you had this kind of new person that had come, or not new person, but this person who'd come back. And, this queen has these two lions next to her, guarding her on each side. So this is what you're doing, guarding yourself. And yeah, you just wanted to keep this nosy person away from knowing anything about this person who'd come back in. Because I think they knew about your past with them, coming backwards, forwards, and they were like, blah, 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 and they had a lot to say about that. So you did not want them to know, because if they knew, the whole world would know, and you did not want that at all. That's what I'm seeing in that card. So I think they're probably still around you, actually, this person. They might be a relative. I'm also getting this feeling that this person, this nosy person, just didn't understand properly about this illness that you had, or this injury, or whatever this was, whatever was making you rest. I'm just seeing them trying to force you to do things when you weren't ready, saying, oh, you'll be okay. I mean, that happens quite a lot with illnesses that you can't see, like especially, mental health. I was talking about that in another video. When people have anxiety or depression or whatever, you can't see it. You can't see that. They're not on crutches or whatever. And people are like, you're okay. You'll be okay. Just snap out of it. Go do this, go do that. It doesn't work like that. And there are a lot of people who don't understand that. I don't know if this was what was happening with you, but whatever it was, this person just didn't quite understand that. So I think you're also protecting yourself from all of that, because I think, even if you have a physical injury, or if you have something that's forcing you to rest, and you have someone that doesn't understand that can having to sit around when you're an active person usually can be something that really gets you down a bit mentally as well. And then when you have to do that, and then you have someone on top of that saying, oh, come on, get out, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. That makes you feel even worse, because it makes you feel guilty on top of, having to do this. So I think that's what you're guarding yourself against as well. You're like, oh, I just won't listen to this person. I'm just, I just can't listen to them. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting around that. So yeah, the last card you have, your past, is the Moon. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of mixed feelings around this person that was in the Knight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, this person that came back to you. I think you had a lot of questions. You just weren't sure about things. Part of you wanted to be with them because you'd missed them, I think, when they were separated from you. But then it's like, now that they're around you again, you had these mixed feelings. You might have been questioning why they were actually back at this time, like, why now? And I don't think you're actually questioning them. I think it was just these questions were going around in your head. Now, I think until you resolved all of these questions and these mixed feelings and everything that you're going through, or you were at this time, I don't think you're going to be ready to totally commit to anything until these are all resolved. So, if this is resonating with you, take your time, ask them questions as well, not in an interrogating kind of a way, obviously, but just as a question comes to you, just ask them. Just say, look, I just want to be honest. I'm trying to get through this with you. I want this to work. And if it's going to work, I just need to know a few things. Can you just answer this? When this happened, what was that about? Something like that. So you're just going to have to talk to them in a gentle way, in a kind of a non-threatening way. And, as you keep on doing this, as you move through this, I think things are going to become clearer for you one way or the other. You're going to be able to make this choice one way or the other. Because this lobster's heading up this path, and he's heading up toward these mountains where these watchtowers are. And of course, when you're up in a watchtower, you can see everything. So when you come up through this path, like this lobster, and you go up, and you're going to have these difficult questions going around and around in your head, like this dog and this wolf kind of howling and barking at you as you go past. Your head's going to be full of these questions. You're going to move past that. You're going to go up higher than that. You're going to go up in the hill where these watchtowers are. Then you'll be able to look down. You'll have clarity. You'll be able to see everything, know everything. And that's when you're going to be able to make the decision as to whether you're going to be with this person or whether you're not going to. That's what I'm seeing. That's going to take time. So don't put pressure on yourself. Don't put pressure on them. Just let this take its course. That's what I'm seeing in that card. The first card you have, your present, is the Six of Swords. So, yeah, I think the same person who's talking to you again, come back again, I think they might have a lot of baggage. Not literally, they might be carrying bags with them, I don't know, but what I mean is, when they're apart from you, they might have been through some quite difficult situations, and they had to kind of leave those difficult situations behind to come back to you. But they still had a lot of that aftermath around them. They still had a lot of problems around them resulting of those times, or that came out of those times, if that explains it properly. So, you know, I think they'd gotten themselves into a difficult situation. They knew that this was something that they had done. I'm actually seeing some money around this as well, so they might have had some financial problems that they'd gotten themselves into. I think they'd gotten out of some of this or part of this, but they were still, or they are still, carrying around some of these problems with them. Now, maybe this is one of the reasons why you're sort of questioning whether they're back for the right reasons. You might be worrying that they're seeing you as some kind of rescuer or helper, like the man on this boat. He's helping this woman, he's helping this child to get out of a bad situation and bring them to a better situation. So you might be thinking, are they really with me because they love me, they want to be with me, or because they're in this terrible situation and they're looking for some kind of person to rescue them? Now, you're not against helping people if they need it, of course, but because you've been through so much with this person and you've been backwards and forwards with them, and this is a very kind of a complex situation, it's emotionally complex, that's why you've got all of these kind of complex emotions and feelings around this. And that was the same as what I was seeing in the Moon card. Just take your time, once again, take your time, work through this, and don't rush into a decision. So I'm seeing a similar thing with that card. So the next card you have your present is the Fool. And this is one of my favorite cards. I love this card. So I know you're probably trying to get over something physically and you're having to rest with that. That's what I keep on seeing. But there might be something you've always wanted to do, or you've been planning for a long time and you were excited about doing. Now, I think this might have something to do with travel or moving, because this Fool's traveling. He has his belongings with him, obviously. He's on the move. Now, you might have shared this desire, what you wanted to do, with a few people, because I think there might be someone who you might want to travel with. And obviously you've told that person. But I think I'm also seeing someone sort of warning you. They might be telling you how dangerous this is and that you shouldn't do this and whatever else. And yeah, you'll probably have to wait for a while because you have this thing you have to get over. But I don't see a risk around this. I don't see any risk around this. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but okay, I'll just tell you what I'm seeing. This is a bit straight. I haven't seen this before in this card. I'm just looking at the sun in the corner of this card. Now, it's on a 45-degree angle. Now, it's on an upside down kind of it's 45 degrees, but it's kind of upside down. So I'm not very good at mathematics, but yeah, it's a 45-degree angle. And when something's on a 45-degree angle, especially a sun symbol, it can mean being able to see ahead of you. When you think about the straight line that's ahead of you, there's one line below and there's another line that's up on a 45-degree angle. So this means you can see what's ahead of you, you know what's ahead of you, you know what to expect, and you can see up, but with the line of the 45-degree angle. So you can see up toward your higher self, or the universe, or if you're religious, whatever you worship, or whoever you worship, I should say, you can see them as well, or your higher self, or the universe. So you can see ahead and you can see up high. So you have both of these visions in front of you. You know where you're going. You know that you're going to be okay. You know that you're being protected by your higher self, or by whoever you worship, or by the universe. You know that you're protected, and you know where you're going. Now, this is like, you know this is going to go well. You know you're covered. Your back is covered. Look at this Fool. He has his back to the sun. The sun has the 45-degree angle on his back, and it's also shining on his back. So his back is covered by the warmth of the sun. His back is covered. Your back is covered. If you do this thing, if you travel or do whatever this thing is, you'll be absolutely fine. You'll be okay. It'll go really well for you. That's what I'm seeing in that card. Now, of course, when you feel better, you're going to have to rest first. But go ahead, please do this. You're right about this. You know what you're doing. Go ahead with this thing. That's what I'm seeing. The last card you have for your present is the Empress. So yeah, you know what this is about. Go ahead and do this thing. Go and do this thing in the Fool card, but you're going to have to spend some time resting before you do. You know that. There's something you haven't gotten over. There's something, it might be physically, it might be mentally, it's something. Rest yourself, take care of yourself, look after yourself. Look how much this Empress is resting. She looks so peaceful. Look how comfortable her chair is. Look how comfortable her clothes are. She has no restrictions on herself. She's just sitting there, so comfortable. And so that's what you're going to have to do. Get comfortable, rest completely. Don't get up one day and say, oh, I feel fine today, or run around doing this. No, keep resting for the full time that you're supposed to. I know it's boring. I know it's, you want to do this, but you can plan while you're sitting there and resting. You can do a lot of things. You can research, you can plan, you can look into things, you can look at different ideas online and all of that are going to help you. You can talk to this friend who you're thinking of going with if that's resonating with you. So yeah, sit and rest. That's what I'm seeing in that card. So the first card you have in your future is the Page of Cups. So this card can be, this card can be really light-hearted, it could be funny, and I am seeing that a little bit in this card, but I'm also seeing sensitivity. This page can be a little bit sensitive as well. So I think you both might be a little bit touchy at this time, a little bit sensitive toward what each other is saying, because I think you're asking each other questions, you're trying to get through this together, and you might be a little bit oversensitive, both of you. Now, I'm not blaming anyone. I can understand why you'd feel like that. And, I do think you need to ask these questions, and I think you do need to take your time with them as well. But yeah, you've both been through things. Just take your time, just be gentle with each other, work this through. And I'm also seeing, I know you've been through a lot, but if you're together, or even if you're thinking about being together, if you're trying to be together, also try to do some fun things, do some light-hearted things as well. Try to live in the now sometimes. Again, this page is a bit funny, he's a bit silly. So you've had good and bad times with him in the past. Maybe it's time to create some new good times with them. New good times that you can look back on in the future and remember that you had now with them. So, if you're thinking about a fresh start with them, especially make it a fresh start. Do some nice things with them. Do some fun things with them. It doesn't all have to be, oh, let's have serious talks. Let's work through this. What did you do? Yeah, that needs to be done as well. But try and balance that out with a bit of fun as well. That's what I'm seeing. Sorry, I just touched my microphone. I hope that didn't make a noise. The next card you have in your future is the Ten of Cups. Right, so this is a beautiful card, obviously. You both really want this. So I think you both are prepared to work toward this. Now, I'm looking at the rainbow in this card. Now, again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to articulate this properly. I'm going to try and explain this as best as I can. You've been through good things. You've been through bad things. You've been through clashes. You've been through all sorts of different things. Now, when you look at this rainbow, it's beautiful. All the colours are in perfect harmony with each other when you look at a rainbow. But when you break it down and you take each colour out of the rainbow, you have all these different colours. Now, there are complementary colours, such as blue and green. There are clashing colours, which are contrasting colours. So, example, if you put red against blue, your eye would go all over the place. It'd be like an optical illusion, because your eye is looking for the complementary colour. So you've got that big clash going as well. So some of the colours complement, some of the colours clash. You've got good and bad in there. But when you put them all together in a rainbow, they're in perfect harmony. They're absolutely beautiful with each other. You've got to recognise the good and bad in each other if you're going to move forward in harmony and work together like this rainbow. You have got so many things, problems you've had in your past, you've had backwards and forwards. You've also had some beautiful, wonderful times. You've just got to acknowledge that you can't, you've got to sort through things. You've got to talk about problems. Of course you do. But you need to acknowledge also that you can't go backwards and right any wrongs. They're all a part of this great big kind of soup that has happened between you. And I think eventually what you're going to have to do is just blend it all together, put it all together and say, look, we're not perfect, but we have a rainbow. We have a blending of everything and it makes something beautiful. That's what you've got to think about and look at. If you're going to move forward with this person, you've got to accept the good, the bad, everything else, and just make it work for you both. That's what I'm seeing in that card. I hope that made sense. I was trying to articulate that. So the last card you have for your future is the Seven of Pentacles. So I'd love to be able to tell you that this is going to work out tomorrow, or whether it's going to work out or not. I don't know. I know that you want it to. I know that they want it to. That's an amazing base for this to be successful. The Seven of Pentacles is a successful card as well. He's looking back on his success, the man in this card. He's worked hard, he's put a lot in, and he's getting the results. So, this is all about you being patient, accepting what's happened, knowing what it is, trying to fix things that you think are a problem without judging, without saying, oh, that's bad, I have to turn the clock back, which you can't do. So accept what it is, work on top of that, create more on top of that, and just be patient, and it'll probably work out if you are, because I am seeing again, which is what I was seeing in the Ten of Cups, you both want this, and if you both want this, that's a big start that you already have. You have a head start.